Danielle, welcome to Podcastina.
Thank you. I love how this worked out.
Me too. It really just, something compelled me to tell you about my journey to move here. I had no idea you lived in Austin, and you're like, I'm in Austin. And I'm like, shut the front door.
Of course I am. Of course I am.
Of course you are.
That's how it goes in our world. Welcome.
Thank you. I would love to start. Please tell people about what it is that you do.
Yes. Okay. So I essentially, at my core, I read patterns, and that comes from my deeper love of metaphysics. So I've studied astrology, just the cosmos, the way that the world works outside of how the way that we think the world works. And so with that, I've come to be able to help people through my studies in patterns, through life coaching, through any kind of realm where we can help other people feel better, feel more at home within yourself, even helping your home feel more like a home. All of these things play into why we're here and then how you can execute your why from that place. So essentially for me, it's just about how can I show up for you, make you feel better about who you are, and then actually make that happen with the support of something greater than you.
That's so great. And were you always pretty spiritual? Is that like normal for you?
Technically, yes. I didn't grow up in like a spiritual household. I grew up Catholic. So it was like two lanes. There was the Catholic lane where sometimes I'd be in church and I'd feel really connected, and I'd feel really connected to the God that was presented within that container, very connected to Mother Mary. But then there would be moments where I'm like, I don't like this, or this doesn't feel right, or there's too many rules, things of that nature. And so then when I started learning about astrology and I started to realize there was like a whole section in the bookstore around metaphysics and the occult and learning your star sign, I started to realize like, oh, this is my religion. This is my language. This is my God. And so it really just kind of became like secret spirituality for a really long time. And then I'd say it wasn't really until my mid-20s that I actually started to be more open about it because it helped my own journey so much that I realized like I need to help other people too.
That's a beautiful path. And I hear that type of journey so much where like God and creator is such a personal thing
It really
that it's so normal. And I think I would encourage people to experiment with what it means to them, like sit with it. If it happens to be organized religion that you grew up in, great. If it happens to be nothing at all, great. Whatever it is that's like the deepest, most authentic thing, I think once you find it and once it kind of clicks in, like keep experimenting, keep dialing it around and seeing like where you land and what feels good. Because finding that part of it that feels good, like I've just been in such a better place emotionally, like mental stability wise, with like finding something to help me let go because I'm such like a crazy control freak with stuff.
Totally. Yeah. We need to find, and especially, you know, with everything going on in our world right now, regulation is so key. It's beyond key. We have to be regulated. And if you're not learning the tools to be able to do that, and if you don't have, at least for me, what really helps is knowing that, okay, there's something greater than me that's looking out for me. And that keeps me connected. That keeps me going. Especially, I mean, there are days where I'm like, what's the point? Why is this all happening? Why am I even here? And it's like, oh, wait. Because I'm supposed to be.
Yes.
And so if that's the case, how can I weave in the support that's necessary so that I can just keep being here?
Beautifully put. So share with me why the period that we're in right now is significant.
It's huge for a lot of reasons. And one thing that I want to say before I even get into the astrology of it all, sometimes when we move into what's going on with the planets, there's this fear of, oh no, the planets are going to do something bad, or is everything going to be okay? And I want to say yes, and I want everyone to realize that we're actually doing better than we think, because now more than ever we have more discernment, more wisdom, more awareness, more technology to be connected, and we are evolving at a faster rate than we realize. So all that to say, the astrology is what is supporting our evolution, and part of that evolution oftentimes stems from a revolution. And the planets right now are having a revolutionary moment, especially for 2026. So a few of the big players right now, Neptune, which is our planet of spirituality, illusion, deception, it's been in Pisces. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and it's been in Pisces since 2011. So basically from 2011 up until the month of January 2026, there was a spotlight on how are you taking care of yourself? And are the people that say they're taking care of you actually taking care of you? Are the things actually getting done that we're told? I feel like this trend or this period with Neptune and Pisces together was like actions speak louder than words. And what we're realizing now so January 26th of 2026, Neptune moved into Aries. It will be with Aries until 2038.
Wow.
And now it's like, hey, I'm kind of upset because all the ways that I was told I'd be taken care of, all the things that you said would get done. And even within our own self, right? Realizing all the ways that we may have betrayed our own self, all the things that, how many times have you said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then you put it off, you procrastinate. And a lot of that, again, comes back to, are you actually regulated enough to do the things you want to do in this life? So all of that is coming to a head right now. But it's all coming to a head so that we grow up, essentially, because the planets are asking us to be more mature. It's putting everything at us, not to challenge us in a negative way, but to say, hey, we're putting these challenges in front of you because we need you to step up. We need you to go into your own discernment. We need you to literally like lean in, listen, get grounded, get rooted, and then say, how can I show up? How can I help? So that's a big theme that's happening right now. We're also in what's known as the Age of Aquarius that started in 2012. It's a 2,000-year cycle. And the Age of Aquarius is all about, I'm the one in control. But when we say I'm the one in control, it just means I trust myself. I am in my own autonomy. I am not going to allow people to control me, especially without my consent, especially without me fully complying. So there's a lot of different energetics at play that are making us question our society, our existence, how we're operating, who's in charge. But ultimately, it just keeps saying, though, come back home to yourself. Come back home to yourself. We promise you the answers actually exist the more you get to know you, which can be an awkward thing too. So that's like a huge piece of it. And then the other piece is 2026 in numerology is a 1 year. One is new beginnings, but it's also truth. And it's also exposure. And it's also, okay, here's a big open platform. How are we going to fill it this time around? And so we're making a lot of choices around how are we going to proceed? How are we going to move forward? And one is also I. So how am I going to navigate this? So that's just a little taste of what's happening.
What might that look like for someone reflecting on the last 9 years? What's the significance of that?
Yes. So basically from 2017, that was the last time we had a 1 year, up until 2025. That was a 9-year cycle. And so essentially now that we're in a 1 year again, what it's asking is, how willing are you not to repeat the things that didn't serve you in the past? How willing are you to not repeat your own history and instead create a new pattern? To look at what happened, not disassociate, not bypass it, not ignore it, but say, based on this existence, based on these, many people are experiencing, the loops, right? Dating the same person, but different phase, finding yourself back in the same kind of job all over again. We're ending those cycles, those loops of repeating, and instead asking yourself in this 1 year, what do I want to do that actually allows me to not only get out of this loop, but actually continue forward and actually jump ahead? So there needs to be more focus around the future, but we're doing it from a space of being willing to stretch ourselves and being willing to say, I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I know it's not going to be a repeat of my past.
I think with a lot of this stuff, sometimes people worry that it could represent something negative and they can't find the association that makes sense to kind of consolidate these concepts.
Sure.
So if someone's like, well, nothing was terrible, I don't want to lose something that was good for me in the last 9 years.
Yeah.
How does someone reconcile these types of universal lessons and the meaning behind it without being like, it doesn't align with my life?
Great question. So essentially, not everything is technically stripping away. It's more so looking at it from the space of what is no longer on purpose for you anymore. And you could say, oh, my life is great. Everything's great. I have a good family. I have a good job. I have this. Okay. And guess what? You're a human here in this life. And the point of being here is to grow and to evolve. So even if everything seems okay, or even if you're like, oh no, I don't want anything good to leave, nothing good is going to leave. And at the same time, let more in. There's more that life wants to show you. And so start to look at it from that perspective. Start to look at it as this is a year there's going to be a lot of surprises. Surprises doesn't have to be a bad thing. How many times have you had a good surprise or a surprise opportunity or something that you didn't expect happen that benefited you? We love those moments. So it's about being open to those moments and less around, oh no, something's going to be taken away. If it's good and it's meant to be, it will stay. But I do believe that there are times in our life where things that once served a purpose are no longer on purpose, and that's okay too.
I love that. I definitely would love to get into the significance with the Chinese.
Yeah.
Like we're leaving the year of the snake, we're entering the year of the horse. I didn't really know a lot about that until this particular cycle. In previous years, it was not something I paid attention to. What does that mean?
Yes. So with Chinese astrology, they go off of a zodiac system, kind of like we do. In Western astrology, all the signs have archetypes. Well, with Chinese astrology, they do the same thing, but they do it on a yearly basis. So based on the year you were born, this is the archetype that you're carrying. So 2025 was the year of the snake. I think that got a lot of attention because, again, we're wrapping up a 9-year, and a snake is such a loaded animal in so many ways because it is about shedding. It is about stripping down. People are scared of snakes.
Yeah.
Most people aren't like, oh, yay, a snake. Oh, boy, like a snake just crossed my path. It's not like a bird, where birds were like, oh, my God, I saw a cardinal. And then I was like sitting looking at it. And then another cardinal came. And then I knew it was a sign from my grandma. And it was so beautiful. We don't have that with the snake.
No.
We have fear. We have it. And it also, once again, is a surprise. It usually comes from out of nowhere. It scares us. It's jolting. And so what the snake was trying to do is like, hey, I'm still a being in this universe. I want you don't need to embrace me and fall in love with me, but learn to acknowledge me in the moments. Learn to look at, why am I so scared right now? What is actually causing me fear? And so the snake exposed a lot of things that maybe we didn't want to see, but we needed to. And then from that, let's shed it. Let's strip things down. And then the beautiful thing about the snake, though, the snake is also about honoring your intuition. It's about alchemizing and turning things into better possibility. And then also the snake, I like to think of it this way, like you're stripping down, and then you need to rest, right? Like if you're shedding, if you went on a run, whatever it might be, you need some time to just, I need to relax, I need to restore, I need to recalibrate. It's like getting a freaking chemical peel, right? That's literally what we all went through at the end. By the end of 2015, we were all like red and raw and exposed and like had handkerchiefs and sunglasses on, just being like, oh, the sun. So we needed to rest a little bit. And for many people, they're still in that restoration space. But my hope is that when we move into the horse on February 17th, that raw skin not only turns into new skin, if you will, but it turns into scales, and then you scale up. And that's kind of how the snake can kind of have its last hurrah before we move into the horse. So the horse for 2026 into early 2027, once again, people like horses more. So we already know, people are already excited about the horse because we love a good horse. We love a good horse.
Majestic.
They're majestic. They're wonderful. We love a movie about horses. We love taking our kids to the ranch to see the horses. It's awesome. So we already have like favoritism from that space. And the horse is about movement, momentum, freedom. But what we have to realize, especially because we'll be switching into a horse on a solar eclipse, because, the universe is like, but wait, there's more. Let's give them a minute. We'll give them the horse, but with it, we're going to give them an eclipse. Because why not? Let's make them like really like, rah, rah. So the solar eclipse, for those that truly have been stabilizing, and what I like to say is the stabilization period is necessary because where does the horse hang out before it actually leaves?
The stable.
The stables. We love.
Wait, can I tell a little aside? Because this has
please
to do. With that. I had come out here to apartment hunt back in September, and I was like sitting at the lake, having a really nice little moment. I was journaling, I was writing jokes, and this man was sitting on the platform, like on the other side of the platform from me. and he had like a little GoPro that he had put down into the water. And out of nowhere, he goes, "Ah, shit!" And he like gets up and scurries away, and he's like kind of looking to me to ask him what happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to know because I already decided to move here, and I was like, ignorance is bliss. I don't want to know what's in that water. It's like a little on the murky side.
Sure. Could have been a dead body.
Could have been a dead body.
Yes.
Could have been a salamander, whatever. And I had looked up to see to learn that there were 31 different types of snakes in Texas, and I was like, yikes. That's a piece of information I would have rather not had.
Yeah.
So it just kind of speaks to that thing of like, it's so scary to think of snakes, and they have this negative connotation usually, and it is kind of like a surprise when you see one.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that significance, you kind of look at it. And in my own life, I had like the most significant shedding I've ever had, really.
Of course. I mean, snakes are part of our ecosystem, and we have to respect that. We have to honor it. Doesn't mean you have to, once again, befriend it, but be like, okay, you're here for a reason. And that's interesting. 31 snakes. Well, 31, so 3 + 1 is 4. 4 is the energy of home.
Funny.
So there's
and
that.
That's a good actually explanation for people that don't know what you mean when you say 9, 1. So 2025, it's 2 + 2 + 5 is 9.
Exactly.
And then 2026, it's a 10, but it only goes 1 through 9, so it starts over. That's why it's a 1.
Yes. So in Western numerology, we always start it over and we drop the 0. But I will say there was definitely some lingering 10 energy moving into 2026, especially we moved in with Capricorn. Capricorn is the 10th sign of the zodiac. So I feel like through Capricorn season, we were still in the energy of 10, which is like, let's wrap up here, let's complete before we really move into that 1 energy, which we're just starting to get our footing with now. And that's the thing we have to realize. When we look at the energetics of a year, it's for the whole year. I think there's sometimes a misconception that like, okay, we're moving into a 1 year. I have to embody everything there is around the energy of 1 right now. And it's like, no, the journey is so that by the end of the year, you fully have understood the energetics of 1. So now that you can move into the energetics of 2 and so on and so forth. So we have to look at it from that perspective too. But yeah, I mean, the signs are everywhere. And it's a beautiful thing, especially when they take you by surprise, like in that moment that you had. Literally.
So if someone doesn't know what that vision might mean, what is the horse supposed to bring? What's the representation?
Yeah. So this year it's they also in Chinese astrology, they pair it with an element. So it's the fire horse. So that's even faster, my loves, right? It's like, okay, let's add some fuel to the fire here. And so what it's going to symbolize is power, taking your own stance, doing things in a way that feel unique and available to you. What's also interesting in Chinese culture, not many women used to be born in the year of the horse because they didn't want to give women that power. So they would use Chinese astrology in a way to make sure or to try to calculate what individuals would be born in what years and who wouldn't. And they tried not to have a lot of births during a horse year because they really only wanted it to be men. So take that into account from that perspective.
They're so serious about it.
So serious, right? Like, you know, they mean business, literally. So just that alone tells you so much around like, okay, if they don't want people to be born under this year, then that means it's about the people. It's about the individual.
I heard that in the Chinese culture, they actually even like marry and date based on each other's year. Like they take it so seriously.
Very seriously. Indian culture as well with Vedic astrology, a lot of matchmaking, like individuals have never have met before and they're aligned because their birth charts say so, which, you know, all of this holds a certain amount of weight for sure, but so does the environment you grew up in, your personality. Like there's so much to it. And it ebbs and flows. There are times in your life where your chart is really going to be magnified and really open. And then there's other times where it is more stabilized. Like for you, for example, I looked at your chart and this year was about coming home to yourself. And when I say this year, I actually mean it from the space of your birthday in 2025. So in June of 2025, there was this feeling, this understanding of like, I'm not fully lit up by my life. And like, while there's so much I want as far as like partnership, family, and like those dynamics, that's not available where I am. And so if I want that to be available, I need to choose myself and I need to choose how that's going to move forward. And that's going to be pretty much the theme up to your birthday. And so you really are in the energy of 1, even though from a numerology perspective. So this is how you do your personal path number in 2026. So there's the collective 1, but then what you want to do is you want to take your birth month and your birthday and then add 1, which is the collective. So do you know what that would be?
Wait, so it would be 12, so 3?
3. Yeah, so while the collective is going through a 1, you're going through a 3. 3 is about community, meeting like-minded people, putting yourself out there,
Funny.
things like that. Enter Danielle coming into your world. But it's more things like that where it's synchronistic. And I like to think of the energy of the 3 of Cups in tarot. There's an image of 3 women holding their glasses in the air and they're celebrating and they're having a good time and wine is flowing and it's just that kind of vibe.
I love that so much.
Yeah. So
what is Fire Horse supposed to bring?
So it's going to bring acceleration. It's going to bring anything that you are very focused on, but also you have to be really grounded about. It's going to bring it into the spotlight. So that's the biggest thing that I want people to realize. Whatever you have been putting off, don't feel bad about putting it off. There actually probably was a reason for it. Like, I'm not a fan of procrastination, but at the same time, sometimes like things just don't feel ripe. They don't feel ready. And so anything that like feels like it's been on the back burner or like in the incubator, when the Fire Horse activates, it's go time for that. More people are going to start to feel more comfortable raising their voice. And when I say raising their voice, I don't mean yelling or being loud, but just speaking your truth. And that can be literally through communication. It could be through writing. Sometimes too, we talk about like raising our voice or using our voice. Doesn't mean you have to go on video if you're not comfortable going on video. It just means sharing in a way that allows whatever you're feeling to be expressed. So the horse is also about expression. And that is part of the revolution. We know this. We know that the more we speak our truth, the more that we bring forth our art, our gifts, our creativity, the more things actually change than some of the other ways that people tell us change has to happen. So we're going to see a lot of that with the Fire Horse. And what I will say with the way that it works when they switch over archetypes, so that's why I want to say like focus on the stables first. The horse is in the stable. So what will happen is we'll have that solar eclipse on February 17th. Then solar eclipses work in pairs. So there's solar eclipse. That's always with a new moon. So we'll have the new moon in Aquarius, solar eclipse, Fire Horse, la da da. Then 2 weeks later on 3/3, magical day for you being on a 3 path, 3/3 will have the lunar eclipse, full moon happening in Virgo. So what happens in Chinese astrology, they use that window. It's not always with an eclipse, but in this case it is. They'll use the new moon to full moon period to truly activate the archetype. So the horse kind of gets let out of the stables on 3/3. And then the fact that it's paired with a lunar eclipse that's really the time to kind of start to be like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do the thing. I just want people to release this feeling of like waiting for the transits or feeling like they have to go like immediately. It's like find your sweet spot, lean in, what feels good to you. Check with your body and make sure that your body is ready to go. That's why I'm like, if you need to hang out in the stable a little longer, do it. Because if your body isn't ready for you to like go, it's like training for or running a marathon and never training for it. That would kind of suck. So like just train and then like, I don't know, eat pasta and do what you got to do so that you're ready in the morning. Get your playlist queued up, all that stuff.
And are there certain people, like certain signs for whom this is like more important or that they need to pay closer attention?
Definitely. So I would say some of the rising stars of the zodiac right now, Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. We're in a 1 year. Neptune moved into Aries. Saturn is also moving into Aries for 2 years in February. And so what this is doing is Aries are going to be asked to bring in more leadership, bring in more of their decision-making skills. Like this is about like making decisions and moving forward and acting on them. Aries, this is not the year to second guess. It's not. And that's my Aries placements, especially if you're Aries sun or Aries rising. And then Aquarians, they're definitely going to be in the spotlight as well. Just, I mean, the solar eclipse that we're having on February 17th, that's happening in Aquarius. Another thing that's happening is our collective nodes. So we have in astrology something called the nodes. So there's a north node and a south node. They're these points of the moon. And the south node is karma. The north node is destiny, legacy. And currently they're in Pisces and Virgo. So we're wrapping up once again an old cycle because Pisces is the last sign. And I love my Pisces. My Pisces were born ready to retire though. So it's like, what do we need to collectively retire and move into this next iteration of existence? And so the collective nodes will shift over in July for a year and a half, and it will be Aquarius Leo. So my Aquarians, you're going to be lining up with the collective legacy of Aquarian principles, and our in the United States will be celebrating our 250th birthday during that window also. It'll be the first time we've had Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Aries since that iteration of our nation starting. So we're going to be seeing more changes, more turnover, because we have to realize, like, that's the point of all of this. Everything has to keep moving and growing and expanding and evolving. And so the more that we find peace with that, the more it'll evolve. So Aquarians, what I'm asking of you in this year ahead is don't be afraid to speak before it's known. Don't be afraid to move forward with things that maybe don't have a template yet or don't have a platform. There's definitely going to be more of you pulling from the future and bringing it to our present. But you can't bring it to the present and be like, oh, no one's ever done this before. Maybe I shouldn't do it. It's like, no, you have to, because if you don't, then someone else will grab it. And that's also how the universe works. If you don't act on an idea, the universe will just be like, all right, well, then we'll give it to so-and-so because you're not doing anything with it. Have you ever had that happen? Where you didn't do something and then you go online, you see someone doing it?
Not in a while, but yeah.
Yeah. So we don't want that, especially for my Aquarians. Leo, you're holding space for it all. So Leos are holding space for the Aquarian, lineage that's moving forward. I feel like Leos are like the spokesman for the Aquarian age. And because we have so many Aquarian-like things happening, which again, Aquarius is just the age of Aquarius rather is about future forward momentum, tapping into your own unique technology that lives inside of you, trusting your instincts. And so Leo, you have to hold space for that. That's really the biggest thing. And then one of the things I say about Leos, let yourself be seen, not the ego, like, look at me, right? Mm-hmm. Although please have a moment for that, because yes, just like that. Are you a Leo? No, you're a Gemini, Taurus, yeah. Gemini cusp. I'm here for it though. But Leos, why I say you need to be seen is because the more that you're seen, the more that you're recognized, it means you're doing something right. And so that's how I like to look at it that way. So yeah, Aries, Aquarius, Leo, Cancer placements. Cancers are working on a lot of emotional resourcing and prioritizing themselves. And this is what I say about prioritizing and like having boundaries, especially for Cancers right now. Virgos too. Everybody. Making a boundary, prioritizing yourself just means that you're taking your to-do list and you're making yourself number one. That's it. You're not saying like, F everybody, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm setting a boundary. I said no. It's just literally like, I'll get to it. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm at the top. So if I'm at the top, then I look and like, it's like, yeah, you're on the list and I'll get to it when I can. And just let it be that simple.
Put the mask on yourself first.
Totally. Yeah. So I'd say those are my star players.
Is there kind of like a centralized place where everyone who's tuned into this kind of knowledge, mm-hmm. like, where do you find out? How do you know?
I would say, like, how do you know what's going on in your chart, or just like, how do you know?
Like, how do you know who's gonna have a good vibe year, and like what all the significance of this is? And I know obviously there's like a ton of overlap, and there's materials out that go over all this stuff, but like, how do they know who's gonna have what type of year?
Yeah, I would say, talk to an astrologer, talk to someone like myself, and look to. I would say the biggest thing is start to learn your chart. start to learn, okay, not only where is your sun sign in, because the sun is who you are by day, which is awesome, but who are you by night? That's your moon sign. And then also getting to know your rising sign, because your rising sign is going to show you the theme. So when people are saying, hey, this is what's happening for this person, you're like, oh, that's me. I can show up for that. Or even looking to see, okay, if Neptune is in Aries for the next 14 years, and Neptune is about exposure and really stepping into the truth, where in my chart does that show up? Where's Aries? And start to play from that perspective. Astrology and all of this is really an intuitive science. So just pick things that feel interesting, pick books, pick people to follow that you resonate with, and you'll be surprised how much it starts to catch on, and then you'll start to know what to do for yourself.
I like that a lot. Yeah. I only learned my moon and rising literally a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know them.
Yeah, and what are they?
They are it's Cancer moon and Libra rising.
Yeah, and what's interesting is your Cancer moon and your Cancer Venus are both conjunct at 0 degrees.
What does that mean?
It means you're here to learn love.
Oh.
Moon, again, is who we are at night, intimacy. Venus is love, relationships, passion. And because it's in 0 degrees, that means, and because they were born at the same, like basically the moon and Venus were like literally conjoined, like immersed in each other. The moment you took your first breath, they were like, who's that down there? We're busy right now. So they were just like enmeshed in themselves at 0 degrees, which also shows like, okay, there's something for her to learn here. There's room to grow. 0 is considered the void, the womb. So that was like, that's what stood out to me in your chart. I was like, oh, she's here to learn love and relationships, but it starts with you. And I think what you finally started to realize last year was that if I am going to have the love that I want to have in my life, I want to have more passion, enjoyment. It's not just about relationships, just love in general as a theme, as a vibe. I got to do what works for me.
When people who are into these things get really geared up, because I've got a friend, I have her in mind, she would always flip a shit when it was Mercury retrograde. She always thought it was the most negative thing. Oh, all of a sudden all my technology is not working and this is going to go wrong and I shouldn't plan any travel. And I've been into like manifesting for a while and so is she. And so I would sit her down and be like, you can't get this anxious about Mercury retrograde because you're going to call in things not working.
Exactly.
So let's take something that has like a negative connotation like that. And what is the perspective that people actually should have on it so that they're not like panicking? Because there's nothing we can do about these kind of events.
No, and the planets retrograde all the time, every year. They all do it. Mercury retrogrades on average 3 times a year for 21 days. Do you really want to give up all of those days because of retrograde? No. And to your point, saying Mercury retrograde is bad is manifestation 101. Yeah, of course your computer is going to break down. Of course this is going to happen. Of course that's going to go, wrong because you've made it known. You say, okay, Mercury retrograde's happening. To me, I associate Mercury retrograde as my technology failing and things going wrong. So therefore, that's the computation, the formula, the algorithm that you just gave yourself for the next 21 years. Or 21 years. Well, apparently, if you don't close down that thread, 21 days. So how we can look at whether it's a Mercury retrograde, whether it's people are going to be worried about the eclipses coming up, whatever it may be, you have to look at it from the space of, how can this benefit me? There's a reason why the planets are doing it. And I can't imagine the planets are doing this to like F with my like phone, right? Or like that feels weird. So retrograde is review. Retrograde is let's take a moment and rewind here and see what needs to be reworked. And I like to use Mercury retrograde as a time to monitor my social media activity. I like to use it as a time to look at my space and be like, what haven't I used in a while? And I can return or release. So in ancient astrology, retrogrades, the symbol for it was RX. So what is the remedy of this planet taking a break? Right? What can it show you from that perspective? When Mercury takes time off, when it's not regulating our technology, can you take a little bit of time off too? Can you mirror it in that way? why is your life so dependent on technology? And if one thing does go wrong, why does your whole day fall apart? Why does your whole world collapse? It's inviting us into a different narrative, another story. It's like, hey, I'll hold it all together, but we need to take some breaks. We need to take some moments for review. And that's really what it's about. And then find remedy from that. So I don't look to it as a bad thing, but I do, of course, I'm a little bit more mindful. I'm going to back things up. I don't always recommend like launching during that time, not because you should be fearful, but because the technology is a little bit more frail. So it's like, do you want to launch during that? Or just give yourself a little bit more space? Or if you are moving during that window, like just double check the contract, double check the details. If you feel like your schedule is a little bit overloaded, don't add in another meeting. That's how I like to see it. And don't feed into the frenzy. Don't make it messier. Don't bring more fear into the narrative. It's the last thing we need right now. Mm-hmm. So that's how I say. And for any other, this year we'll also have a Venus retrograde in the fall. So Venus retrograde will kind of do the same thing. I mean, we often see more divorces happen during that, more breakups, more separation. I do think we'll see that, especially for people that want to get it kind of done before the holidays. But Venus retrograde can also be a time where new love comes in. If you've been single, a Venus retrograde could bring you a relationship. It's just bringing in the reverse. It's just bringing in a different pattern for us.
What should people do in their space, maybe in their communities, to kind of prep for these changes, like especially with the horse year? Is there anything that you would recommend people integrate that they can like physically do?
Yes. So I would say definitely with your home, anything that doesn't feel like you, anything you don't identify with anymore, even when you walk in your space, it should feel like a place where you can exhale. But if it feels tight or crunchy, or if you're looking around the walls and you're like, I don't even like, where did I get that art from? Or like, I don't really like it anymore. Or I think I want to refresh. Do it. These are moments and opportunities to create spaces that feel expansive and fun and bright, but also safe. We have to realize that our house, it's called a household because your house is holding you. And so what is your home not only holding for you emotionally, but what is it holding physically? And is there anything that you are holding on to that actually doesn't serve you or creates more space? Or you're literally like having to walk in weird ways like around your home because like you have extra stuff. And I can't tell you how many times like I'll talk to people and the stuff they're holding on to is like to-go containers or like, right? Or like this thing that maybe they'll need in 5 years. And it's like, if you need it in 5 years, you can get it. Most of the stuff is so replaceable and not even expensive. Like it's not like we're holding on to these like.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. It's like, well, just in case. Or yes, I will need, I need 100 batteries because it's like, do you? Like my vibrator now is like USB chargeable. So I don't think I need that many batteries anymore.
This is the second podcast in a row where I've talked about the charging of the vibrators.
Here we go. I mean, that was so awkward back in the day when the battery would die. I remember one time I had to like take them out of my TV remote, and I was like, such a weird moment. Yeah. So yes, it's how could you allow your space to feel like the version of you today? So when you walk in your front door, when you walk into your bedroom, does it feel like, oh yeah, this is a vibe? Like we're connected, or does it feel outdated? Upgrade where you can. And then also same thing, release things that just don't feel like you or you're holding on to for honestly no reason. And then encourage others to do the same. Like have a party where you come over and do a clothing swap. Have moments where it's like, oh yeah, let's go to this new like thrift store together instead of going to like Home Goods as part of your like normal errands. Like let's actually make an event and we'll do like a what's that called? Where you like a bar crawl for vintage stores, right? Like we're right, a vintage store crawl. Like why not? And also too, it's doing things where you're engaging with people. You're off your phone. I think that's a big thing too. What are more things that we can start doing that are social, that are allowing us to engage with each other? I'm seeing more events and things that actually like Don't take photos. Don't have your phone. You have to check it. I know. I won't make you give up your phone. I promise.
He's very anti-technology.
Oh, you are. Yes. Yeah. We don't need phones. We don't need phones. Some more things like that so that we're actually being connected as humans and like in real time in physical spaces. That's going to be really important with the fire horse because the horse just wants to bring us together. Where the snake, I will say the snakes don't really hang in packs. Like, you know, like they're not like you don't see like a snake family. Nobody ever says that. Oh yeah, there was like a mom and a dad and 2 little babies that just literally were like, they're just very solo and they hang in the underground, right? The snake is in the underworld, whereas the horse roams freely, but it always comes back to its family. It always comes back home. So how can we embody that too?
Are there do you like abide by like feng shui rules? Are there things that people absolutely shouldn't have in certain spaces that are like actively bringing bad luck or bad karma?
The worst thing in the world. Please don't have your toilet seat up.
Oh, I'm psycho about not having, but it's a germaphobe thing.
Okay.
But good to know.
I appreciated that about you. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Or like if anyone comes and stays at my place and I see the seat is up, I'm like, no. Like I'm going to have to ask you to leave if you do that again.
There's a 6-foot radius of pee and poo spray that happens when you flush.
I don't get it.
So when I have guests come over and they don't abide by that, I now have to wash every towel.
Yeah.
Those towels are done now.
I don't get, and then how many people bring their phone in? They put their phone on the counter, or they're sitting with their phone, and it's so from that perspective, and from a feng shui perspective, keeping your toilet seat open is water is connected to money. So in feng shui, water is currency. Okay. And so if your toilet seat is open, it creates leaks in your financial energy. Same if you have a drippy sink or anything like that. That's why, oh my gosh, with the ice freeze this weekend, it was driving me crazy because they're like,
they said to keep the water running.
Yeah, keep the water running. I mean, I had water in my tub just in case, and it was just sitting there. And then it was like, keep your cabinets open. And I was like, every part of me was like, oh my God.
The drama for a person who's new to Austin. Like, thank God one of my friends warned me. I got the initiation. One of my buddies who was here for 2021 and lost power for 4 days was like, go to the grocery store before the weekend. Yeah. And I was like, okay. So I went on Wednesday. I got a bunch of stuff, probably not enough because I was hindsight. Like, they're being dramatic. And I was looking at the weather and I was like, it's going to be really cold for a day and a half.
Yes.
And then to see how crazy it got on Saturday and everything closed early and then everything was closed on Sunday. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm so bored and nothing turned off. And I'm grateful that the utilities didn't turn off.
Totally. Yes.
I was not prepared.
Yes. That's what happened to me. So I got to Austin in February of 2021 and my initiation was also the ice storm. And same thing. I was like, oh, it's just saying freezing rain.
Yeah.
And I'm from like the Northeast. So I'm like,
same.
Like no big deal. I'll just get a little work done. And I was not prepared. I did not have enough food. Power went out. I didn't have my dog then, thankfully, because that would have been even trickier, I feel like. So all that to say, though, yes. So I feel you on the way Austin likes to initiate us. We stay. But from a feng shui perspective, so why the water is important for financial currency, but also the reason why it's like toilet seat down, cabinets closed, like because if water was to flow into your space, and we mean this in like a healthy way, it should be able to flow through your space. It shouldn't get jammed up. There shouldn't be barricades or dams. It should be able to kind of spread out evenly. That's what you want to think about. Your home should feel like flowing water. And so what can you do to make sure that happens? That's why also the entryways, keep them as clear as possible. Of course, you can have like a coat rack or have, a place to put your keys, but everything needs to be intentional. Or if you do have a pair of shoes by the door, it's like because those are your shoes that you're always grabbing, not a pair of shoes that you probably haven't even worn for like 3 months and they're just hanging there. So entryway also needs to be open because it's the mouth of your home, the entryway. It is it kind of is the expression point. So when you walk in the home, if you're tripping over shit, like that doesn't really set a good tone for the rest of the day. And then same thing if you're leaving, it's kind of like if you feel like you're being kicked out the door, like that's not the greatest energy either. So we want to watch out for that. We also want to watch out for things like fake plants, especially in areas that are like by the windows. You should like if you I
hate
get it.
Fake plants.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but like some you can kind of pull off, like depending on how they look. Yeah. Like if it's just like maybe like a nice green leafy one. And some people live in places that are a little bit darker or they don't have direct light, and I understand that. That is okay. I see like that's the only time artificial plants are allowed. Like if the space needs something that mimics it and you can't actually have it, all right. And then, so yeah, because what you're doing is if you just fill your house with fake plants, you're filling your house with fake energy.
And they collect dust.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do. They collect dust and they're just, it's not necessary. And it's plastic. You don't need to be like breathing in a plastic plant when plants have good juju. And then the other thing that you want to look at is where your wealth corner is. So the wealth corner is when you walk in through the front door and you're going to go as straight as you can and then as far left as you can. So in your case, that's your wealth corner right there. I do like that you have a plant there.
Thank you. I'm going to have more plants
I assume, yes. I know you just moved, so I'm not going to, if you had been here for like 2 years and that was your wealth corner, I'd be like,
what should that look like? Because my intention for it is to have, because I know plants also like to be together so they can share the humidity and everything.
Yes.
I'm going to get like a little upwards, like a tiny shelf situation that has plants all on it, and then like a little space where I can hide a humidifier, and that's like all that's going to be in that corner.
Love that. So yes, you want to keep it clean, simple. I like shelves, plants. It should feel like it can breathe, because the reason why it's the wealth corner is because the energetics of a space and the way that it works with our like compass with directions, it cultivates its own little vortex, and because of that vortex, it creates expansion, and so that then generates wealth in our life. So another thing that you can add to, you could add like, some people like to add like crystals, citrine, pyrite, clear quartz, that helps amplify the energy. You could put any artwork or pictures that feel good to you. Anything that's there should feel healthy, bright, happy. I think plants are kind of the best way to go about it if it's possible. Again, not everyone's home can do it. The number one thing I see in people's wealth corners that drives me crazy is the vacuum.
Oh.
Yeah. Like either like a dustbuster or a Roomba. They're like, oh, I just put it in the corner. Like in your head, you're like, oh yeah, it's just in the corner. Well, you put a freaking vacuum in your wealth corner. Do I need to say anything more?
Yeah.
Right? You're draining your finances. So yeah, just being like mindful. And if anything, I'd rather someone just have it nice and clear and open. So yeah, you're on the right track with it.
Oh, good. Any other ones that stick out for you that are like red flags you see in people's homes energetically?
Ooh. Yes. The other thing too is and this happens, right? You are living with someone and one person moves out and you're not in a position to move out yourself. You decide to keep the place. You have to remove not only their physical things, but their energy as well.
Sage that shit?
Sage it. And almost like what I like people to do, I'm like, I want you to push them out. Like literally push out. Like it's like you're imagining, this is how you want to imagine it. People leave an imprint. So I've been sitting on this couch for a minute. When I leave, my energy is still going to be on this couch for a little bit. Okay. It'll eventually leave because I haven't been here that long. If I was here all day or all weekend and I didn't move from the couch, it would eventually, like my more and more of my imprint, more and more of my energy would be anchored into this couch now. So what I would recommend doing is like sage it, fluff up the pillows, maybe vacuum it or whatever, air out the space. Now imagine someone that you've been living with for 5 years. Their energy is anchored in the couch, in the bed, in even their traffic flow. So like every morning when they would wake up and get up, go to the bathroom, go brush their teeth, go make a cup of coffee, that creates this like really interesting passageway of energy that is running through your home. And so even though they physically leave, their imprint hasn't. So you want to clear their signature from the house. So saging, kind of, you don't, if you're not able to, some people like to just replace the furniture, replace the bedding, definitely. Just little things that you can do that are within your budget and do as much as you can. And then saging, also just, the headboard, that's another one. The headboard holds so much energy because it's holding intimacy, it's holding sexual activity, it's holding stress, it's holding your dreams. It's literally a sounding board for your energy. And so it's holding all of that. So you want to sage it. I have a mallet, a rubber mallet. And depending on if it's a wooden headboard, you don't want to do it, but like you can do it gently. But like you just want to like kind of bang it out and just tap it out and then have the windows open. And just what you're doing is you're ushering it out of the house. You're saying bye-bye, bye-bye. And with the sage too, same thing. The sage is more about the smoke than the sage. So if you light up some sage and it's not really smoking up, that actually is a good sign. Some people get frustrated because they're like, it's not smoking. I'm like, good, because that means it's not picking up anything. The smoke is just picking up anything that has to be released. If it's not picking up much, good thing. If it's going to town, and then it's like, all right, then there's a lot going on here. Like, if you're moving through it quickly, it just means there's a lot of energy that it's absorbing. And so just keep doing what you need to. So, yeah. I love clearing homes. I think it's really fun.
How do you feel about dream catchers?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Neutral.
Yeah. I think if they're cute and it doesn't look tacky, and sure. Yeah.
I wanted to ask, how do we sit in our own power if so many things are controlled by planetary events? Like, how do you reconcile that?
Sure. It's co-creation. You have to look at it that way. You have to look at it from the space of, this is what's going on, and this is how I'm going to participate in it accordingly. Just like with the weather. When you look at your weather app and it's a 70 degree and sunny 70 degree day, you're like, oh, it's going to be kind of an easy day. It's going to be nice. I'm going to go for a walk. Wonderful. But then when you see, oh, there's going to be ice, there's going to be a storm, it's going to rain, how are you going to work with that? It's really the same thing. So when the planets are doing certain things, you look to it just like you look to the weather. Based on what is happening planetarily, based on what is happening with my goals, based on my plans, what's going to happen here? It's called planet because it helps us plan it. It helps us plan our lives.
I love some wordplay.
Oh, I'm not here for it all day. So how can it help you plan your life but not have power over your life? They're not called power-its. The power-its, that would be scary if they were. And also realize with the planets, they work in patterns. If you can step into a pattern where it's able to help you, you're able to work with it, you're able to co-create, amazing. If you miss it, it'll come back around. It's like catching a bus, right? It's like, oh, I missed the bus, but eventually another one will come. If you miss a planetary transit, another one will come. And so use it as information, use it as a tool, but do not use it as another reason to feel like a victim. I think that's the biggest thing, like the Mercury retrograde story. That's someone choosing to be a victim as opposed to looking at it from a space of, how can I actually be empowered in this? How can I actually leverage the fact that this is happening? I can't stop it. I can't stop the fact that it's going to rain today. So what do I need to do? Well, I'll use an umbrella, or I'll stay home, or I'll reschedule my meeting, or I'll embrace it and I'll just go get wet in the rain, because why not?
I love that. Anytime that you can like bring the autonomy into it and kind of just use it as like a support system and a way to plan for it, that really, I like that space a lot.
Yeah. The planets are our friends. They are. They're not trying to hurt us or get us per se. What I love about astrology is it's a homecoming in a way. Like, our birth chart is literally the first clue that our soul gave us to be like, hey, you took your first breath at this moment for a reason. And now we're going to take a moment and look at what was going on in the cosmic sky to give you intel into why you chose that moment, to then help you understand why you chose this life and what you are going to do in this timeline.
So cool. All right. I know you did a little bit of learning. I gave you my birthday.
Yeah.
What can you shed light on for me cosmically?
Yeah. So I feel like, kind of like what I was saying earlier, this year is definitely more about you. The planets, actually, in this case, aren't really on top of you. They're not going to be asking you to go too much out of your comfort zone, which I really, really appreciate and like for you. This is about the art of, how do I show up for me? And then in turn, give back from that place. How do I also show up for others? So like with that Libra rising component, you're opposing a lot of the energy that's happening, but in a really beautiful way, where you have to, the more that you use your discernment this year, the more that you trust yourself, the more things are going to expand. This has the ability, especially right after your birthday, to be a year where things really change for you in the best way possible and set the tone for the next few years ahead. with the conditions that you're willing to keep going and trust the process even when you're uncertain right now. Because that's going to be your biggest downfall is the uncertainty. Your Mars is in Taurus. And so there's a lot of feeling of like, I want what I want when I want it. And I want it to be known. And I want it to be clear. And I want it to be fully laid out for me. That's not what this is going to be about. This is going to be about how willing are you to move forward with the changes that you already said yes to, and then actually move forward with the change without actually knowing all the details. And what's going to happen is you're going to actually get more information from that space.
I like that. That's a great forecast.
Yeah. It's healthy for you and it's beneficial. And at the same time, you have to realize that the way that you are wired is part of the change. And so can you trust that?
Yeah, and I feel it deeply in this moment, and the more I surrender to this stuff, the more it's like, oh, the trusting the process actually does work, and I'm in this space specifically, like this week, this month, of really wanting to go back to comfort, to like find some job that I don't want, to support myself in the unknown, when it's like, no, I can't. I really can't. I have to like wait for the gifts to come and the things to come, because like as I've opened myself up to them and let it happen, like even last night, I randomly met a man who could like help me so much in certain ways. And I'm like, how is it that I'm in this room and he showed up in this room? And like
more of that.
Me trusting the process and like being patient with it and not just jumping back into old ways is really paying off.
Yes.
There's a tension that I have to overcome.
You do. And that's going to take time. It is. But it's going to get looser and softer.
Good.
And you have to realize that what you're doing with comedy, that's part of the revolution. That's part of the rebellion. And so also with that, even with comedy, like so many of our systems, the way that even comedians did what they did to find success or whatever it might be, new ways are forming there too.
Yeah.
So be open to that as well. Right. And being less afraid to be a woman in the space and all of those different aspects also. That's a big piece of it.
Well, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
Danielle Mercurio, if people want to work with you, where should they go?
They should go to my assistant, Monty. You carry all the information. So find me via my name, Danielle Mercurio. All the details are on my website. I'm on Instagram. TikTok, I'm not so sure about these days. I don't know. It's been a little wah-wah.
Yeah, it's a little, but I'm grateful I found you.
Yes, I know. I'm so glad that we found each other via the TikTok, but now it's being a little, but it probably will get itself back up and going again. But yes, just look for me via my name and you'll find me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for doing the show today.
Thanks for being with me or having me be with you.
Of course. And thank you everybody for listening. Bye.
Bye.